All right, today it's WEFM 99.9. You know what time it is? Time to head to Live with his commentary this morning. Let me see, we got Live on the line. Hello, good morning to you, Live.
Hey, good morning, Maka. Morning, Roleza. Morning, listeners of WEFM. You all hearing me fine?
Good morning. Good morning.
You
Loud
all
Yes.
and
hearing me
clear.
fine? Okay, all right. So yesterday I was
Yes.
I was look yesterday I was looking at the news and I was wondering if people are still following the war in Iran, Israel, United States, Iran. It's not getting it's not getting any better, right? And we will soon start to well, I guess we are already yeah. So I guess we are already feeling some of the impacts, right? But the United States seems to be in denial in relation to how this is going for them because they expected it to be probably over in a week. But you have to remember this is a country that has fought wars before. I think they were involved in a war. Iran was involved in a war for something like 9 years with a neighbor. They never stopped, right? So I came across this interesting opinion piece that someone wrote, and I would like to share it. So I think this piece gives us a clear understanding of what is happening now and what we should expect, because I don't think that people are really like following it closely, because I'm not hearing much commentary on it on social media. I'm not hearing much commentary about it on radio. I'm not really hearing politicians talking about it as I think they should, because it's getting worse, not better for us. And it always kind of like strange to me that the bigger countries are allowed to just do anything they feel like, and we just have to go with it and then feel the consequences. And then we are the ones that suffer the most. It's just the same thing with climate change, where President Trump said there's no climate change, so he unsigned a couple agreements with other countries about helping to solve the problem, greenhouse gas emissions and what's not. He says there's no climate change, and well, I don't know what, if there's no climate change, I don't know what we are suffering from in countries like St. Vincent, when they have stronger storms and hot and droughts, and then on another spectrum, floods. So, but anyway, they make decisions and it affects us all. So someone wrote this. It didn't. I didn't think I got the name of who wrote this, but I find it very interesting. So it says, but they were basically speaking of something that Iran did yesterday. So Iran told Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates to evacuate their energy facilities because they're going to bomb them. And the name the name all Iran name all the targets live on TV, right? Live on the media. So they told them basically, yo, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, evacuate. We're gonna bomb these facilities. And in saying that, there was a bomb that was dropped in Iran in the early, when the war had just started, and it killed something like 168 student
Girls.
children, yeah, girls out of school. And I saw an interview on 60 Minutes where the reporter was asking the headset guy um if the US was responsible for that, and he said that oh, we are still investigating. And the reporter asked him, if you wasn't responsible, when you come out just playing and say we're not responsible, and he said we're still investigating. And the reporter says to him, well, the missiles that were used, what is only the US used those? And he said we're still investigating. So basically, we see Iran taking a different approach. They actually say we're gonna bomb this site, you all evacuate. So it seems like if they want to keep the casualty at a minimum, but then the US just bombing indiscreetly kill 168 children. So anyway, the poster says, well, they just order these places to be evacuated, right? So he says that is what 5D chess looks like when Donald Trump plays it. The guy walked up to the board, threw his queen straight into the middle, and got taken by a pawn. I don't know if you are a split chess, right? But that's funny, right? So, and now he's sitting there telling everyone he's winning while the board is on fire and the table is collapsing. Because that's what they're saying now. They're saying they're winning, but what does winning look like? So Israel, with full US backing, bombed Iran's South Pars gas station yesterday, the largest gas field on earth. 70% of Iran's domestic gas supply shared with Qatar, all burning. And Iran's response? Cool. We're going to blow up every refinery from Riyadh to Doha. Here's the list. You've got a few hours to run. So it says, now let's talk about oil because you're being lied to. So this is what is going to affect us in the Caribbean, us in St. Vincent. The headlines say Brent crude is at 103. So this is basically saying Brent crude is at 103, $108 a barrel. Before last week, there was an analyst saying that it was 70 something dollars last week, and it was analysts saying, oh, it's not going to go above $85. It's not going to get to 100 because the war is going to be over soon. No, it's 103, between 103 and $8. But that's what they're saying. This poster says that's not the real price. That's one benchmark. The actual aggregate oil price, what people are really paying for crude oil right now, is sitting between $120 and $130 a barrel. I think that's probably the highest price I ever heard. I don't know if anybody ever heard any higher price than that. And that's the number they don't put on the front page because it will start a panic. Iranian officials have said openly they will push oil to $200. And Iranian economics professor said $300. 3 weeks ago, that sounded insane. Today, it sounds like a reminder. So it basically goes on to say, they just confirmed this is the largest supply disruption in the history of the global oil market, the largest ever. Gulf production has been cut by 10 million barrels a day. The Strait of Hormuz is closed. A fifth of all world's oil used to flow through there. Used to. I think I saw something where countries were trying to approach Russia for oil, and the president Vladimir Putin said, "No, we don't have any. We're not really interested in selling any oil to anyone right now." So all these things are going to affect us in the Caribbean and in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And I will mention, well, I have to go fast because you say 8 o'clock today. But I will try to go fast, and then I will try to go fast and say why I thought I should mention this morning, right? So let me just go a little quicker. So people who don't understand what the oil is, people will say, well, oh, I just go to work, and I don't really do this and I don't really do that, right? 90%, 97% of everything you touch, eat, wear, and use involves crude oil. Your food, your medicine, your plastic, your fertilizer, your transport, your heating, even your tomatoes from the farmer's market. Grown with petroleum fertilizer, picked by blokes who drove there in trucks, made from crude oil, delivered on diesel, wrapped in petroleum packaging. The little sticker on the tomato, petroleum. We don't use those, but we have farmers that go to the mountains in trucks, and they drive up there with the trucks, you know, and they drive to the market with trucks, and the market that they sell them in town, some of the markets in town, they are powered by oil because they need electricity or whatever. So it says, when oil doubles, everything doubles. When it triples, civilization starts to wobble. This isn't the recession. This is a seizure. When oil doubles, you know what caused the Great Depression? Tariffs, stock markets at all-time highs, reckless speculation. We got all of that, plus an oil crisis that 1929 didn't have. This is the Great Depression with a turbocharge bolted to it. The Great Depression affected the entire world. So did COVID. We had the economic meltdown, the economic crisis that affected us in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And you see, today alone, Israel assassinated Iran's intelligence minister. towards senior official in 2 days. Iran fired multi-warhead missiles and cluster munitions at Tel Aviv. 2 dead. The Bushehr nuclear plant took a hit. Dubai airport got hit. The Australian base in the United Arab Emirates got hit. Expats are fleeing Dubai on $250,000 private jets and abandoning their dogs in the streets. Iran has spent 25 years digging tunnels. So basically, the US, I'm gonna stop there, right? But the US basically started a war that is once again affecting the entire world. We are expected to see rise in gas prices, rise in probably other commodities that are imported. And I say this to say, the government, we just got a new government last November, and they have come into power, and now they have to look at ways to boost the economy, generate money for projects. And they said basically they want to be focusing on the major projects. The major projects that are already in the works, they will continue, but they want to be focusing on the major projects. They will be focusing more on fixing roads in the various communities, feeder roads, helping people with housing, and other infrastructure projects more aimed at helping people go about the everyday life comfortable, right? But the question remains, where is this money going to come from to do these things? There was talk of CBI. Now organizations like the CDB say that revenue from CBI is basically declining in the region. I don't know if when we eventually get our CBI program started, if because we're a new country, that we will have a rush of legitimate business people and legitimate people coming to get these passports, so we will get a huge influx of cash to push some of these projects that we want to do. But right now, projects mean a lot of equipment. Projects mean use of gas, use of diesel, use of oil, and we're gonna see prices skyrocketing. We don't know how long this thing is going to last in Iran. The last time Iran was at war, I think they said it lasted 9 years. So, and as I keep saying, I would never like to be a politician right now. You have to be extremely creative right now in relation to trying to raise funds for some of these projects that you want to do. Yesterday, there was a tour of an area in West Kingston. 3 ministers went on the tour: Minister of Housing, Andrew John, Minister of Transport and Works, Nigel Nature Stevenson, and Minister of Health, Daniel Cummins, who is also the parliamentary representative for West Kingston, and they toured the area of Lago Heights called Big Yard. I used to hear about Big Yard, but I never went to Big Yard before. Big Yard is a whole different community by itself above the road in Lago Heights. I don't know if you know where Mr. Morris has his garage on the side of the road when you go into Lago Heights there.
But like
Just
I know that area, that like a whole village.
Right, yeah. I went up there yesterday for the first time, and like
You can't believe
I gotta
it.
save me. Yeah, I gotta save me comments for tomorrow. I gotta save me comments for tomorrow. So they were talking about like several infrastructure projects in Big Yard, right? And it's basically, I'm just thinking, like, the Minister of Transport and Works says that his ministry has something like 4.5 million for like certain projects or whatever. But I'm just thinking if that would be enough to do these projects, because we're talking about roads, we're talking about backwalls, we talk about proper drainage, so we have to have proper engineering and what's not. And I would think that there are several communities in St. Vincent that resemble like the setup in Big Yard, right? It's communities that a lot of people don't know exist because they just hear the name, so you never really consider that there are communities like this where it's basically like when you go to, like, I don't know if you ever went to Jamaica and you drive through these tenement areas where they have the like all these communities that people are really, really living close, jam up on one another. You know, that kind of way. And like everybody is a close knit community, but then it's like a level of yeah. So the oil problem created by the US is going to affect us sooner or later. I think it's gonna start some of our projects, and basically, I would not like to be a politician because these days you will have to be extremely creative in seeing how you're going to raise funds to do some of these projects that people expect you to do, right? Yeah, so maybe tomorrow I talk a little bit more about the big yard situation.
Okay, and let me just add as a quick one-liner. So it's not even just about money for big projects, but let's even look at the situation of the collection of VAT in terms of that VAT revenue for the government. Because if persons are going to be buying less, right, the government is not going to be getting as much VAT revenue to be able to do whatever it is that they need to do. So it still has that whole trickle-down effect in terms of how they are going to be able to generate funds for this and that. So, if people can't afford what they're going to be seeing in the supermarkets, or can't be afford to be buying gas as much as they used to, or patronizing this or that event, it's going to have a whole trickle-down effect. So
it's gonna be another it's gonna be another bread and rice year.
Bread and rice?
Bread and rice. Yeah, that's what I say. Bread and rice, yeah. Majority of it. Let me do say majority, because people might go offended. A very big section of society lives on bread and rice. That's just the reality. Let me tell you something. Anybody selling bread right now, anybody that has been selling bread for the last 3 years has been making plenty money. I know bread people selling bread rent vehicles for $150 a day to drive around and sell bread. So do the maths. You rent a vehicle for $150 a day to drive around to sell bread from Monday to Saturday, and you're driving around and sell bread. Even that will be impacted by the rising gas prices, right? Because you need gas for that. So you're basically probably spending say $200 a day to drive around and sell bread. So that means bread selling is very lucrative, right?
We'll pick that up again tomorrow. That's the other part. All right. So have a good one today, Lyf.
Yeah, take care.
You too. All righty. So that brings us the end of our our commentary segment with Lyf this morning. And in a few minutes, we'll be bringing to you this morning's Cop Chat. Time here in SVG, it is 8:04, and our time check came to you with the compliments of New Haven Funeral Home.
Death is a fact of life. Even though death is a fact of life, that doesn't make it